Okay, in this video, I'll share with you another story of a UAE-based businessman who made money, like so much money, but one major business decision and he lost everything. And by the way, this is once again a real story where I personally interacted with the person and I know the person. Know the person in the sense, a real person. However, if in case you do know who I'm talking about, there are many of you who have been in UAE many years who send me private messages. Like Henry D'Souza, the previous video that I put, I was informed that he's no more and they sent me the link of his death. I appreciate that. Rest in peace, all I can say. So if in case you know anything about this gentleman, and let me know. At the same time, if any of the details which I share is wrong, please feel free to correct me and send me a message. I'll put it in the description. Now, the story begins with Henry D'Souza, the same guy. Once I started to do many of his events, he introduced me to a close friend of his. Okay, you know, they would sit together on that round table during parties and they would talk and drink and okay. So he introduced me to this guy. You know, it is almost 25 years ago, so it's a little bit hard for me to remember the exact name. But I think his name is Jerome Saldana. Okay, not sure. So he introduced me. Hi, how are you? Tall guy, not plump or lanky. Very great personality, very dynamic. And obviously much more elder than me. He must have been in his 45s or whatever. Okay, when I was in my 20s. So obviously a 20-year, age difference. So dynamic guy, and then this, spoke and this and that, and okay, fine. And then after they decided to launch this business, which I spoke about in my previous video, he wanted someone to do the printing and all that. And that is where this guy came in. So they went to his office in Sharjah, okay? And the name of his business, if I recollect, was Modern Graphics. If there is any other business with that name, please, this is not you. This business shut down, closed down, finished. So it's Modern Graphics Sharjah. So if there is a Modern Graphics, anything else, I'm not talking of that. This business is closed down 15, 20 years ago. Whatever, 50, maybe 10 years ago. Okay. So the name was Modern Graphics in Sharjah. So I went to the office, simple office, compact, nothing great. It is, the exact location is near the Toyota Honda showroom near, the Sharjah road that goes after a bridge. It goes towards Al-Wada Street. So before that, okay, this is in a narrow strip. And now, before I left UAE, many Chinese furniture shops are there, situated there. It's near the Honda Toyota service station or showroom. Okay, Al Futtaim had its massive showroom there in that lane. Okay, so yeah, so we went there. A nice office. He treated us well. He didn't have anything extraordinary, all that, but the one thing that absolutely stood out was he was very sharp, he was very eloquent, and obviously because he was talking to his friend, they were chill pill, So even there also I didn't notice anything much. He took us for a tour of his office and he was telling us about different projects. Everything was fine. And I'll tell you, one of the key things about this guy was every Mangalorean function, they used to call themselves Mangalore Konkans. every function, he was a sponsor for the printing. That would give a little bit of publicity in the Mangalorean community. Like this strategy, which was followed by many business people. If you're a Sindhi businessman, you would sponsor a Sindhi community event. If you're Goan, you'll sponsor Goan events. So this guy used to sponsor all the Mangalorean events. In fact, there is one printing press which many of you who are in the 80s will know in UAE. It was Gulf Technical and Commercial Printing Press. This particular business used to support all other business activities in Dubai, and they were very well known. From Rugby 7 to all the major events, they used to sponsor, and they used to put the official media or printing sponsors. Okay, so they would undertake all the cost for this. So he used to sponsor all these events. So I didn't notice much about him, or there was nothing great about him until then. One fine day, I can't recollect how, but I got a nice, this was, I remember Henry showing me, okay, the same businessman. He showed me a blue packaging, a blue, like, means it had a whiskey, a champagne bottle inside it. So it was a nice blue bottle box, okay. Nicely, you had to open it, not wooden. I think it was wooden, not too sure, man. Can't remember. Okay, so why I remember the box was it was beautiful blue, and you have to open it this way. You have to open it this way, okay, horizontal, not the top, like when you buy a whiskey bottle or something. So he opened it this way, and it is silver foil kind of silver printing. And when you opened it, there was a nice bottle that also printed with this guy and his wife photograph. I think 25 years is a silver jubilee. Yeah, I think 25 years, whatever. They were celebrating their wedding anniversary for 25 years or so, I think, because it was in silver. Okay, and the champagne has a cover at the top, and it has like a small mini booklet at the side. The whole thing he had printed, even the booklet that he had. You're talking of pre-Facebook days, where every photograph of his life, he had taken a nice photograph. Beautiful booklet. I really wish I had kept that. It was actually, the champagne bottle was an invitation. It was an invitation for his wedding anniversary, with a booklet there with all the photographs when they got married 25 years ago, then beautiful moments and memories of the child being born, of them going holidays, and their whole life. They had made a small booklet, very high quality printing, because obviously he's a printing guy. And this was not the part that was shocking. The part that was, there are different levels to shocking, huh? The first part was he had given this champagne bottle to every person he had invited for the wedding. Okay, I think maybe close to 500 people. Okay, so he had sent this customized champagne bottle, and this bottle was an invitation for the wedding. The wedding anniversary would be held in Mangalore, Moti Mahal. It's a very famous landmark in Mangalore, Moti Mahal in Mangalore. Okay, and for that wedding, he had booked the entire hotel. Okay, he had booked, or maybe he booked a majority of rooms, but this is as far as I recollect, because you need to understand this was like 25 years ago. Okay, so he had booked the entire hotel, and some of the guests he had personally agreed to fly them down. Okay, and on top of that, after he booked the hotel, there's a swimming pool. It seems that he had got chefs. He got chefs to fly down, a Thai chef, Chinese chef, Japanese chef, whatever, chefs to fly down to cook personally for that event, or I don't know whether he did it through the hotel. And he would arrive at that venue, it seems, with a helicopter. Okay, now this part I have not seen with my own eyes, but I heard it from Henry. He said They bought a helicopter and they came landing down with all the guests, and it was a major like wedding celebration, unheard of. Okay, and it seems each guest was given a goodie bag, for the memories and all that. It was the most talked about wedding anniversary that was ever there. See, for someone like me who came from a very simple background, you're talking of 25 years ago, where such a kind of function was not heard of. Okay, today through social media you'll hear, okay, he spent 100 million, 7-day wedding, they flew down all the guests to Bahamas, but you're talking of 25 years ago, man. That also someone from South India, from Mangalore, from a village, a man who started his career from nothing to doing something like this. So it was like a wow event. And I remember even going to his house, and yeah, that is where I think I saw it properly. He had exclaimed how they celebrated the wedding and all that. Fine. Classy guy, big villa. It was in Sharjah, in some, corner area where they had all these villas for rich people. So until then, that was a memory that stuck with me, like, wow, this guy is big. Okay. But now where does the shocking part, the scandalous part start? Okay. Now, UAE until then was a very simple place. A lot of Indians used to come there. There was no such thing as, owning property and all that. All of a sudden, UAE started this gold rush of the property boom. Until then, it was not there. I'm talking of those days, property boom in, I think, the late 2000s, early 2000s. The property boom started, and all of a sudden, the first big property was, I remember BR Shetty purchased it in the JBR area. JBR, yes. That 3 buildings are there, the landmark. The first 3 buildings of JBR. BR Shetty purchased the big one over there. And that is where the entire UAE community got shocked. Oh, India has so much money. And BR Shetty, if you remember those days, used to take photographs with all the sheikhs. In fact, he was the only Indian who managed to get a photograph with Baba Zayed. Sheikh Zayed raised his hand like this, and he was doing like this. And typical BR Shetty style. He had taken over UAE Exchange in a very controversial way, which is another story in itself. He had taken over NMC, New Medical Center. UAE Exchange was a very big move that he took. So you're talking of those days when he purchased the first. And the funny thing, he purchased it for, I think 1 million dirhams, which was not heard of. 1 million, or I don't know, 110,000 dirham. No, it can't be 110. 1 million, something like 1 million. Okay. It was a very big, for lifetime. And then obviously the freehold property started. Gulf News, Khalij Times, all of them, they started releasing the classifieds, which was only like 4, 5 pages or 10 pages. It became 3 booklets, 3 newspaper booklets of literally over, I think, 100 pages, man. That many ads for freehold were there, that many. And if you are in UAE for many years, you'll remember the confusion. Freehold properties were promising that they will give you a visa for 99 years if you buy the freehold property. Imar and Akil, I don't think were there that time. They just started off. So you're talking of those days, property boom. And all of a sudden, everyone in the construction industry, electricians, contractors, everyone, oh, it increased so much that their salaries, I remember this. His name is Harindra Lal. He was in Sharjah municipality. And this is a fact. I know this guy so well. He was a 60 plus year old man. He was getting only 2,500 dirhams in Sharjah as a electrical engineer. Malayali, old man, was working in Sharjah municipality. He got an offer with the Australian contracting company that was doing Limitless. You can Google search Limitless. They were doing for Nakil's project and all that. All this, on the water. From 2,000 dirhams, 2,500 dirhams salary, his salary increased to 66,000 dirhams a month. Not joking, I'm telling you, Facts. I spoke to him. Imagine your salary is 2,500. 2,500 dirhams. I don't know how the hell he got 66,000 dirhams. But they took him. Maybe because he knew Arabic very fluently. Old man. He worked there for 4-5 years. Never changed his lifestyle. All the money went and retired later on. So imagine what you're getting. He he was getting what he would earn in like 4 years or 3 years he was getting per month. Okay, anyway, I'm digressing. So during the property boom, there were so many advertisements, so many promises, so many properties, Falcon City, Arab City. In Ras Al Khaimah, this is where he got stuck. In Ras Al Khaimah, they promised the Shah Rukh Khan Boulevard. You can Google search if you think I'm bluffing. SRK, Shah Rukh Khan Boulevard. They advertise that Shah Rukh Khan is going to live here and it's his exclusive signature properties. They paid him a hell lot of money for promoting this and it sold like hotcakes. Now, what is the problem here? The problem here is, one is there was no property that was developed. Only construction works just started. Second is there was no electricity, water grid. There was nothing. There was no infrastructure. There was no roads, nothing. Just they advertised, put his name and took money from people. That time you could book a house or book an apartment, 20% down payment or whatever. And not only Ras Al Khaimah, everybody was doing it. I remember the brochures that were printed. They had a 100-kilometer, this is if you have stayed in UAE for all these years, 100-kilometer long Dubai, some Dubai city or something, 100 kilometers, with all luxury hotels, apartments. And it was so crazy, just like the cryptocurrency boom. They were taking money left, right and center. They were printing brochures left, right and center. I myself had some of these brochures. They were showing, like, Las Vegas or like Hong Kong in the night. They would show a road with all these buildings touching the sky, and they had promised the sun, moon and stars. Every contractor was jumping in. Every developer was jumping in. So many came in. I'll tell you, I'm sure you know what is going to happen next. So now, where does this guy get involved in this whole story? He, I don't know how he got in touch with one of the Ras Al Khaimah Sheikhs or somebody from the Ras Al Khaimah ruling family. And this is what I heard from Henry. So he got in touch with one of the Ras Al Khaimah and they decided they were going to open a factory, a massive printing plant, massive one. It was going to be so huge, it's going to take care of all the printing of not only Ras Al Khaimah, but later on the entire Middle East. Now just imagine if suppose his printing press was small, let's say 20, 30 people. Here he would have like 3,000 or whatever. And you're talking of a massive factory where the equipment alone, it seems he had to take bank loans from 3-4 banks. Huge. You're talking of massive equipment. Now, here is where my memory is muddy. I do not know whether it was 75 million worth or 750 million. But let's say for dirhams, he took a massive amount, let's take 75 million. Because 750 million goes to a billion. That time billion was not heard of. So let's say 75 million, okay, example. So for a guy who had few millions, took the biggest gamble of his life because Ras Al Khaimah Sheikh family or whatever promised him the sun, moon and stars. Promised him all the contracts will come to him. And yes, those days they had 51% partnership. You start any business, you have to have a partner, local Emirati, where you'll give the control of 51%. So I don't know what were the terms and conditions. Maybe he told him you'll own this land. Maybe you'll own this, whole thing is yours. See, when Arabs want to do business with you, they will sweet talk with you like no one else's business. I remember this friend of mine, not close friend, but someone I deeply respected. I'll not give you his real name. Let's call him Chandra. Okay? Chandra was a genius when it came to managing, fabrication plants and all that. Abu Dhabi, someone from Abu Dhabi Sheikh family took a partnership with him, invested millions. Okay? You're talking of you're talking of like 500 million worth of whatever. Took him as a partner, promised him sun, moon, and stars. Later on, when his business started to grow, didn't pay him a single penny, and on top of that, refused to let him go for a period of, I think, 4 years. Imagine, didn't pay him salary, didn't give him a release, and because he was a powerful sheikh, he didn't let him go. He used to give him like trickle down this thing. And he couldn't leave because he was a powerful sheikh. Finally, he escaped and ran away. Escape means he allowed him to go, took his family and never came back to UAE. So I'm not saying all the Arabs are bad or all. Yes, you do have one or two of these, and if you did meet, your life would be destroyed. So this guy, the Arab guy, must have sweet talk with him and promised him sun, moon, and stars. He fell for it. He took a bank loan from 3-4 banks. Obviously, if you're ordering missionary, you have to pay the money. And he started the work of building the factory because he was promised they would build the roads, they would set up the electricity grid, they'd set up water, everything they would set up. So that was the agreement. He started and construction and all that, and that was when the property market started to wobble, shake, and the demand started to fall, and there was slight panic. No sooner all this started to happen, well, one by one, the dominoes started to fall. It seemed the sheikh, he realized finally that the sheikh was not going to be involved. He had to speak to the sheikh's secretary or somebody else. No roads were going to be built. He'll have to bear the brunt of paying for that. Electricity grid, he would have to pay the money to set up a electrical whatever, factory, or however they supply electricity. He'd have to pay money for the grid, which would come to millions. He would have to pay for the water line and everything, internet, everything he had to pay from his money. On top of that, he realized that even if he paid all the money, there's no guarantee that they would do it on time. Then on top of that, the orders which are promised, I'll get you all the orders. And obviously, when the market is down, there are no orders. Nobody is building anything. The Shah Rukh Khan Boulevard, which was promised, and he would get all the printing jobs of it, that project flopped. Shah Rukh Khan took his money and vanished. Yeah, because he's just a advertising guy, right? He got his money. Nobody can question the sheikh. That project was, abandoned. Nobody even spoke about it. It died. I don't know if it is even there in the Google search. They come up with these pronounced announcements, like you had one announcement of Ras Al Khaimah Airport, Ras Al Khaimah Airlines. There was a Arab guy who was going to, serious, you can Google search. He was going to pull an iceberg to UAE and give water, and he got so much publicity. They make all these big announcements to get free publicity. In fact, the latest one was a UAE, some Indian guy is standing like this with a suit, and he said he's going to go for a venture capital investment to purchase 110,000 bitcoins. Yeah, right. That time itself, I laughed. People said, you don't know what you're talking. Where is he? So people make these announcements, big announcements. So he realized, sheesh, man. I stepped out of my comfort zone, believing this guy, took a bank loan, started a construction, purchased the equipment where 50% maybe advance, 50% on delivery. And now on top of that, there are no jobs. On top of that, there is no... And to break even when you invest in something, especially if you're talking of a industrial setup, it takes 10 to 20 years, man, to break even. Provided you have business. Ras Al Khaimah had no business, had not, there was nothing happening at all. It was like a dead desert. They just fell into this hype that it's going to be the next Las Vegas and all that shit, and Shah Rukh Khan and all celebrities would come there. So eventually, where, yeah, I will be coming, okay? Where things became shocking was, that's my wife, by the way. She wants me to pick up the baby. Where things became shocking was, or where everyone got shocked finally in the end, finally because of the crushing debts and the fact that he got cheated, which is a fact. He got cheated. He got used for someone else's bullshit dream. One fine day, they just shut down the business and they went away. Yeah, because, I mean, how will you pay 3-4 banks? How will you pay all those people? What will you do, man? And they just went off because, see, remember those days, UAE law, if you owed money, they'll bring a criminal case on you. Now, I can be wrong with the details because obviously I didn't speak to him one-to-one. This is from his friend, who's anyway no more. Now, the part which became even more scandalous was some of the employees who did not receive the salary. Okay, they made a big complaint in one of the Mangalorean newspapers. I think it was Daiji Dubai or Daiji World. They said we didn't receive our salaries, or some Mangalore Times or something. We didn't receive our salaries. Now, I do not know whether salaries were paid, but as far as I know, the man was an honest, genuine, sincere businessman. He was a very nice guy. Okay, because all the years he paid the salary, all the years he took care of his employees, even his employees, until that time, they had nothing but, obviously he's not their best friend, but they never had anything bad to say about him. Even the business community, he would do a lot of things for charity, a lot of things to help other people. But, when it comes to do or die, sink or swim, what can you do, man? And the poor chap had to leave everything and run off. And finished a legacy that was built for 30 years plus. We built from scratch, where everything was secure and set. In fact, if he didn't go for that Russell came up bullshit, he would have continued to this day, and he could have maybe even 80, 90, whatever his age would have been, he would have continued, and his family would have continued the legacy. I'm not saying they would have become multi-millionaires or billionaires or whatever, but they wouldn't have to worry for at least 2 generations or at least one more generation. That much money, property, everything was there. But believing in someone else's bullshit. See, so what are the lessons that we can learn from this one? I think the biggest one is, after you reach a certain stage, don't take risks, man. Don't take risks. It's not worth it. And like I always tell people who invest in crypto or anything, invest what you can afford to lose. Don't go beyond that. Okay? That you can say is one. Number 2 is, be wary of people who hype you up, who give you promises, who promise the future, the sun, moon, stars. This is the same thing what happened with Bitcoin, no? Michael Saylor, then Kathy Wood, Elon Musk, and all the cryptocurrency pundits and experts. Oh, one Bitcoin will go to 100,000. One Bitcoin will go to 1 million. One Bitcoin will go to 10 million. Even now, you'll see experts on, so-called experts. In 10 years, it's going to go. Shut the fuck up, man. Do you know if you live or die? Forget 10 years. You live or die tomorrow. What 10 years you're talking nonsense? They predict the future, which they themselves don't know whether they'll live or die tomorrow. Ask them, okay, fine, you're so good at predicting 10 years, tell me tomorrow. Tomorrow, what is the pricing? They can't. Then what shit are you talking 10 years? That's number 2. All this hype, bullshit, and the future predictions. Number 3 is, I think you have to be very careful. Need versus greed. See, he didn't need it. He didn't need. It was greed. Oh, I'll be more rich. I'll be more successful. I'll be more famous. I'll be more. Maybe not. See, maybe he wasn't after all this. But the very fact that he went into this was not his need, no? Point number 4 is, I mean, don't, bank loans, credit, very, very dangerous. And the bank is not your friend, yeah. It's not your friend at all. So you have to be careful of that. And if you take a bank loan, you're finished. Especially for business. Please don't take bank loans. I know you'll debate with me and tell me, no, you have to take bank loans. Go ahead, take it. And after 10 years, let me know, how did you do? Because I've seen banks, end of the day, trust me, they are profit-making institutions. They're not offering free money. And anything that comes for free has a catch. And last and not the least, and by the way, even when I offer something for free, I'm not giving something for free. I'm getting benefits from others. So always remember, free. Even Apple, if they say 6 months pay later, you're getting business, but then you are locked in. Last if not the least, he took care of his employees all those years. All those years he took care of his employees, the people, society. But the day he lost his money, the day he lost everything, the employee loyalty vanished. Those very same people who were praising him started cursing him. The friends vanished. And nobody was there to help him. Sad, no? Well, this is the reality. Reality of money, friendships, relationships. End of the day, from my side, I don't have a single bad thing to say about him. I don't have an iota of bad experience. I just genuinely, sincerely feel sad for such a smart, dynamic, educated, scintillating personality. All it took was one mistake. One. Let me give one bonus piece of advice before going. In the Bible it says, be careful of becoming too close to a king, because the more powerful the king is, the more dangerous it is. Like, he can just lose his cool and you're finished. Maybe he'll just do something impulsively and you'll be in the firing line. Anyway, this is the story of this modern graphics. I don't know if the name is correct also. And this guy, Jerome Saldana. I genuinely hope he's doing well, and I don't know if he's alive also, but this is my version of his story. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Good, bad, ugly. It's me sign off. You guys take care.